A little bit before.
Mm-hmm.
As I was watching things transpire very quickly
Mm-hmm.
from early last year, changes getting made really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Philosophers spouting off. John Philip Chanel sending me articles. He was very, very focused on what was happening to America.
Yeah.
At the time, Tash being in law school, whereby very quickly, in the law schools in DC, the professors, whatever their politics are, they have been focused in the lectures about a constitutional crisis and what's really happening. And I think on the inside of the Beltway there, if any of you know Washington, it's a very different type of ecosystem than when you're outside, because there are things happening. I've been getting letters from people. I spoke about it in an interview I just did before I came here, where a woman that is being affected by the whole Doge experience of people being fired and civil servants that work for America, they're being gutted. So many that I didn't even know about. And I stay kind of up on what's going on, not like Tash,
Right.
because she has to. She's going into criminal law. So they've been focused on these rights that have been in place and things that we're losing on a daily basis. So as that pressure cooker was starting to kind of impede on my creativity and that side of my songwriting brain, I began to understand I had to document what was happening. The question was, how do I do it?
Right. So you get this idea for the Dragons, and then we move a couple more months. I've been emailing you about my spell work.
Yes.
And on July 31st, you told me that you were going to go in and start tracking some of the new songs, just you and piano. And you said, will you light a candle for me? So little did we know, there was some stuff going on behind the scenes. The next day, August 1st, is the feast day of Lu, who is a Celtic god, Lu the Long Arm. And that's August 1st, and so I thought, I'm going to do one better than light a candle. I'm going to do some spell work, and I'm going to do a spell with him. It's interesting because that holiday is sort of the first harvest, and I thought, well, you're starting to harvest your songs. This is perfect. He's a warrior. You need some protection while you're doing this work. It all just made sense to me. So I did that.
Harpist.
And a harpist. He's a beautiful musician. He plays songs of sorrow, songs of
yearning, longing.
Yeah. So it made sense, and so I wrote you back, a couple days later, and I said, well, I did this. And then you wrote me, and you wrote back in all capitals, Lu, because I didn't know that you had also contacted him as well, right?
Yes. I contacted him at the very end of July,
right,
the night before his feast day, and I said, I don't know why I'm being guided by my muses to reach out to you, but I listen to them. So I'm reaching out, and I'm leaving you a light, so some candle that I had. I didn't have the orange candles yet because you explained that's his color. I did steal a little bit of Blanton's from husband's stash because I thought I'm going to give him a good dram instead of, nothing against Jack, but I was like, no, I'm going to...
Top shelf.
Yeah, top shelf.
Yeah.
And so that was the beginning.
Yeah.
And the last thing I expected was for you to send me the email you sent me.
Yeah, same. So that was but that's what happens with magic. That's how magic works. And so then you said, can you send a message to him for me? I don't want to get into the specifics of some of that, but we started this weird threesome.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can really put it.
You were the conduit for the messages
that
coming
were
back
through.
and forth.
Then you would send them to me. So, but my question for you is, now Lu is sort of a big part of the album.
Yeah.
There are several songs that either are inspired by him or directly about him. Before he came into the picture, you must have had an idea of where the album was going to go. So did it suddenly veer off because you had this new thing happening?
these were still early days for the record.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how I was going to get there.
You had the idea.
I knew that, like Sekhmet in Egyptian mythology,
Yep.
half woman, half lion, lioness, that needed to be my archetypal map.
Yep.
And that turning into another essence of yourself is metaphorical for many things for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so it seemed like a good poetry device to bookend them with Shush was coming. I had Shush on a demo that had been written in July, and I had seeds of the title track in Times of Dragons, which I knew had to be a world builder,
Right.
because it seemed like I had to bring you all in to a very private moment that changes everything, that explodes in real time, where the propulsion she has to leave him is remembering she knew the girl that wrote Silent all these years,
Right.
and asks herself, where is she?
Yeah.
Where did she go? And why am I fucking hanging on to this?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the yachts, yes. I could imagine. I mean, if you're married into that kind of world, and I know people in that world, it's a very different type of world that I chose. And yeah, I have a beautiful little beach house on the intercoastal, and you know, a place here and a place there, but it's not like what we're talking about.
No gold toilets near that.
Well, I don't think I would have ever done that. but you know, there is expensive, beautiful taste out there. My niece is a designer in New York City, so I'm exposed to that. But the thing is, it's not as if I didn't have options in the 90s.
Right.
It wasn't all just rock and roll rough boys, whether roadies or other. But, you know, in a nice restaurant in New York City, before I was married, I could glance across the room and see, okay, he's a nice salt and pepper kind of guy.
Yeah, a hot daddy.
Well, yeah, maybe, but I was in my 30s, I could handle it.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought that's a very different, I'd say, Tori, that is a very different life choice. I said, yeah, but I've been doing double shows. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to kind of,
Yeah.
I know everybody doesn't think that way, but there was a side to me, there were options. So if it's on your, not far from your plate, if there's a side dish happening 2 tables over,
Yes.
then come on, I wasn't married yet. And I was thinking, okay, where do I want to go?
Yeah.
So it's not as if this story is so foreign to a side of my personality that was investigating. I just, in the end, didn't choose that path. I chose more the artistic set. I didn't choose the socialite set, and I'm sure I wouldn't have worn that well for long.
Right.
But I have friends that are acquaintances that are very involved in that Hampton, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard set.
Yes. I wonder, I mean, you have the muses visit you. We had Lou, who is visiting you, giving you messages. And you have this line in Provincetown, which is the 3rd song. After you've escaped, you go to see your friends in that very famous queer community. But you sing, he casts a circle to call in a spirit that will give advice even if you don't ask for it. And I'm wondering, do you ever get messages, whether it's from me or it's directly to you, where you're like, fuck off. Like, no, I'm not going to take that. That's not going to use that. Or if you get something, are you like, there's a reason that I got this?
All of the above, and sometimes, but I'm open to it, because you never know which one is going to work. Sometimes people make suggestions and they don't necessarily, how could they, know that song will then cancel out 7 others of us learning, so it's on the back burner. That's a long burn. Just with writing the arrangements, I'm not going to mention the songs' names, but sometimes it's, okay, this is a tall order.
Okay.
And if we are trying to build that repertoire fast, which we are, we put a bit of a park to get through the Albert Hall. The biggest media centers for me, it's different for different artists, are London, New York, and LA.
Right.
So usually when I take chances, big chances on those shows, I usually regret it. Whether there's a technical fuck up or like only one of my ears was in, one, during the Pip set in LA, and it just, with the wig change, it didn't get in. So I was fucked.
Right.
But then you plow ahead. It was still, before that had been a strong show, and then you just go, you know, the risk was too high for those stakes that were high in the media center. So sometimes the idea, are you know, to play it a little safer, sometimes is the wiser move.
Right.
Like we were going to start with IIE last night, and the MD said to me after the Irish show coming over on the boat, he goes, look, boss, I'm telling you right now, that's a tall ask for the Angel Witches. It's high.
Yeah.
Coming in cold, even though everybody's warmed up. High like that, at that kind of show, you know, is it wise?
Yep. So let's
put no, it's not wise.
Yeah. Put a couple songs before it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes total sense. But what about when you're writing and you're getting messages? Like, you know, those, do you ever ignore those? Or if you're getting a message, does that seem like there's a reason you're getting it?
There's a reason, and yet, while with this record, I was sharpening the pencil and really, you know, drilling down. Because as I got further and further in, again, I knew we were ending up at 23 Peaks.
Right.
And I knew we had to start with Shush. But anything else, who I met along the way, how we got to this place, was kind of up for grabs. And Tash was an element because she had on her iPhone these 3 songs that they were seedling ideas that we were developing together. And she just played them for me that she'd had for months. And I'd forgotten about them. I forgot about Veins, Strawberry Man, and Stronger Together. Yeah. And she just looked at me and said, Mommy, how can you forget that? Are you all right? Clearly not.
I want to talk about 23 Peaks. A little trivia is that I've never cried to a Tori Amos song before in the last 35 years. I never have.
Okay.
But,
Plaque.
I cry to like Coca-Cola commercials. Like I'm real sappy, but like the stuff that really matters, I don't. Anyway, I was playing the record for my husband, and he was watering plants. We were just in our kitchen, and I put on 23 Peaks, and I started sobbing. And he had to come over, and he was like, "What's wrong with you?" And he just held me for a couple minutes. I've never been moved by a song like that before, of yours or anyone, I would think. I've heard you say already that was one that sort of came as a download.
Yes, as you hear it.
I want to hear more about that. What does that mean? Did you go in with any lyrics? Did you just sit there and think, okay, I'm going to see what comes? How did that song come?
Well, my friend Molly, who has Second Sight, she's one of my oldest, dearest friends, and she has 3 certificates: a birth, a death, and a birth certificate. So she was declared dead, and they paddled her back. And she happens to be able to see things, not of herself or those closest to her, but of people around her. And so she sent me this information about the story behind 23 Peaks in Native American lore, and why they call them the crazies, the mountain peaks, and the story of it, which is in the song, that happened a long time ago. And Philly was visiting the studio, and the light, it was summer, so up here in the north, we have late, like till 10 o'clock, you have good light. And we were in one of the rooms at the studio. Mark had set us up and had said, you know, do your thing. And Philly asked me, he said, what is happening? Tell me the story about how this ends in what you're going through as you're turning into this half woman, half dragon. I don't think he said those words. I think he said as you're turning into a dragon. And I said, well, and I was at a keyboard and he was sitting there and we were just having a beautiful sip of this gorgeous sunshine in a glass Chard, a French white Burgundy. And I took a couple sips, little sip of courage. And he took a sip and the light was coming through. And I didn't know he turned his Pro Tools on. I didn't see it. He just did it. I don't know why. I have to ask him. So I said, I'll give you a go. And I just had to keep, one of his keyboard sounds was up and I started playing it and I sang him what you hear as you hear it. That's what I sang to him. I tried to re-record it because, everybody was like, this is just a demo.
Right.
But even in the mastering or the mixing room, it was,
it's perfect.
We can't change this because I couldn't get it.
So is that one that you won't be able to ever do live?
I don't think I can.
I don't think you can either. I kind of don't want you to. As much as I want you to, I just feel like it exists in this universe as it is.
It does, and we don't want a fucked up version of it.
All right. We'll see how this goes.
It's gonna go good. You always do good. I'm so proud of you, by the way.
Oh, that's very sweet.
I'm proud of you with all that you're doing
Thank you.
at HuffPost and your podcasting and all the messaging you're getting out to everyone and the information. It's really important.
But this is about you, so. But thank you. A few weeks ago, you did one of these interviews, and you were asked how many unreleased songs you have in the vault, and you said, and I quote, "I'd rather tell you who I've given a blowjob to." So I took the liberty of making a list of people that people suspect you've given blowjobs. And we're just going to go through, and you just say yes or no, okay? No, I'm kidding. I could do that, but we won't do that. But I do want to say that there's one song you've talked about briefly in another interview I read, Greenland, that you were working on that became Ode to Minnesota.
Well,
so is that still its own song, or did that transition? Or talk about Greenland.
It's actually called Denmark.
Oh, Denmark. Okay.
Because they,
great,
are the proprietor.
Yes.
Greenland.
But is that an actual song that's out
It
somewhere?
was in development.
Uh-huh.
And it might, but it's a very, very, very different kind of song.
Got it.
It's a tongue-in-cheek type of song for the greedy energy of a little piece of Poland, a little piece of France. That kind of from the producers. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
That little scat kind of type of device songwriting where you're doing a send-up of something so unbelievably shocking that tyrants do, whether they're trying to distract or whatever it is they were trying to do. But while that was happening, and I was kind of working on it, thinking, but this doesn't really belong on Dragons in this way, unless the Gasoline Girls, it's coming through their radio, and Mark was going to devise, because he has a triumph, a badass triumph, he was going to devise the track coming through their radio. And so they're listening to it after Gasoline Girls. They're listening to this on the radio.
Got it.
It was kind of a and Kelsey Dobbins is saying something pretty hot and nasty and rude from her bachelorette party that was captured on an iPhone, and then I started jamming with it. And Matt James was like, "Oh wait a minute, I know how to do this." And Bonks was like, "Yeah, give it to bass and drums." And so we were kind of working on it, and then I'm going, but this is just wedging something in for the musicians were like, "I'm thinking this."
Right.
And then they pointed me to Minnesota and say, "That's a sea change. That's not a distraction.
Yep.
This is ice.
Yes.
Focus on what is happening."
Well, you emailed me that morning, and you had told me that a song had woken you up, essentially.
Yes.
And that you had sort of sung it into your iPhone that morning, because you don't wake up early.
No.
And you were like,
I
something
go
woke me
to
up.
bed late.
Yes.
Usually, sometimes when Mark is getting up
Yeah.
at 4:30, I'm cruising on off.
Oh, I get the emails I get from you are usually between 1:30 and 3:30.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I know you're up. But you had said this song came through, and I went. Mark was already in the studio. I went in and I did it. Was that another one that was sort of like a download then?
Minnesota was, absolutely. And you've seen the lyric.
Yeah.
And Lou had written me
Yes.
about the pink rabbits and the fire.
I had a vision.
Yeah.
And I sent that to you, and I said to you, I don't know what this means, but Lou is saying you know what this means, and you said I know exactly what that means. So I thought that was so interesting. So yeah, there is an exact line from one of the messages in there.
Yes.
Yeah, incredible.
He sends so many messages. I can't explain to everybody. Yes, but he's been very insightful.
Yeah.
About how important I have to focus.
Yeah.
And every thread, every word.
Mm-hmm.
When he said, "Do you know that in Dingle Bay, the angel sharks have appeared?"
Right.
But then he expanded it, and I don't want to give away the song. So,
Yeah.
but he expanded on that, and then it took me into my journey.
Right.
So he's been very much a part of. I had no idea that I would have this 5-dimensional lover
Right.
in my life,
Yeah.
where he has even said, I really wanted to explore the human 3D experience and tell them what he said.
Well, yeah, we were talking. You had asked me at one point. You're like, "Is it possible for him to be here on this plane?"
Yeah.
And I had a vision of an alligator inside of a submarine. And I remember telling you, I'm not sure what that means. And then I said, what he's basically saying, after I'd done some meditating on it, is that he is like an alligator. If he was inside a human body, it would be like being an alligator inside a submarine. He just wants to be in the water. He just wants to swim. He doesn't need the submarine.
No, he wants to be in the universal soup.
Exactly. Whereas you and I are stuck in our submarines for this time.
For this time.
Yeah. So I want to switch gears a little bit here. You've been playing horses live.
Yes.
I saw it in Dublin, I think. Beautiful with the whole band. But something people have been talking about is that you changed one of the lyrics that was about Neil Gaiman, who was a friend of yours.
Yes, he was a very close friend, yes.
But you no longer name drop him, so I just wondered if you wanted to address that, however you wanted to.
It felt like the right thing to do. I take things song by song. Why I chose to do that, for that line, it felt like it could hold it and have a meaning.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, the Neil that we've read about, that I've read about, is not the Neil that I knew.
Yeah.
I never knew that Neil.
Yeah. Does that mean that you will change that lyric in Tear in Your Hand?
Tear in Your Hand is a difficult one, probably the most difficult with him in it, because he's so stitched in. It's our story.
Right.
Whereas in Horses, it could be, if Noah emailed me.
Right.
Will you find me if Noah emails me?
Not integral. Yes, exactly.
So.
And same, what about Space Dog? Would you change that? Where's Neil when you need him? Would you change that lyric?
No, because it's genuinely true. Where's Neil when you need him?
Right, it takes on a new meaning now.
Well, as the poet, you have to ask yourself.
Yeah.
To change that.
Yeah.
That feels disrespectful.
Absolutely.
Of the song itself.
Absolutely.
Whereas it could have been anybody. Will you find me?
Yes. That makes total sense. Yeah. Thank you for...
If Holly makes me a brownie.
Right.
I mean, you know,
right. Yes.
Microdosing mushrooms, please.
Talk a little bit about the Civil War song that you've been covering, Poison and Wine. You played that twice now. Why? Where did that come from?
I love that song, and I felt like, you know, it wanted to come in Ireland. We can't do Song of Sorrow yet, or Mirror to Mirror. And there's something about, with Lou, it's much more of a giving. There isn't any poison, as you know, and you know all the emails back and forth.
Right.
There has been no poison. There has been no threatening, whereas the lizard demon, who's based on real people, is threatening all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's amalgamation of more than one person behind the power scenes. And that's where the record is true with everything I'm writing about.
Mm-hmm.
What did you just ask me? My brain straight?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Poison and wine.
Poison and wine.
Oh yeah, the cover.
Yes, so I kind of wanted to do something for him in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a deep connection with Ireland, having had the house there since 95.
Absolutely.
And selling it in 2019, which in some ways I regret, but hey, I was spending less and less time there just because no one would go with me.
Mm-hmm.
They were all involved in their lives now.
Right.
The nieces, Tash, they're in their lives.
Mm.
And Mark wasn't really drawn to Ireland, he's drawn to Cornwall. So it just became one of those things whereby it needed care.
Mm-hmm.
And I was spending a week there, at the most a year. Johnny would go with me, and it just felt like it needed to be handed off.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's what happened. And Poison and Wine was also a nod to him.
Are you thinking about doing more cover songs with the full band?
We're going to investigate that
Okay.
slowly, but
Yeah.
we're trying to work up a pretty big repertoire,
Yeah.
which is, you know, every sound check we're working on stuff, except yesterday we didn't pull out anything new we're working. We focused on the show.
Absolutely. But nothing's off the table, basically.
No.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that. It's interesting because you were saying that you had Shush and you knew you were going to end on 23 Peaks, but how you were going to get there was kind of up for grabs.
Yes, and I knew I was world building on In Times of Dragons,
Yes.
that I really had to build the world.
I remember sometime, though, in September, I think that was when the guys went out there first to start recording with you.
Yes.
And you said, maybe it was October, it was after they left, and you said, I need another 5 or 6 songs to get me from here to here. And
Yeah.
that's what I'm working on right now. And you've already said that there were days when you would be working and the guys are waiting for you to finish a song. Does that freak you out? Are you ever like, I'm just gonna come up with poop and at 4 o'clock when it's time to record, I'll have nothing? Or are you good with deadlines like that?
Well, both.
Okay.
So it's the pressure that James, Matt Chamberlain, one of the greatest drummers in the whole world alive, at the top of his game right now,
Mm-hmm.
who's the busiest man on the planet, is sitting there watching vampire horror
Mm-hmm.
because I don't have it yet.
Yeah.
And I've worked all night through the night alone at the little piano at the bottom of the stairs in the cottage
Okay.
where we live.
Yeah.
And then there's the studio, and then there's the live room, and then there's where the guys stay. So it was pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And the pressure, I was counting on that the pressure would be so great that it almost makes you see and hear differently.
Mm.
So you can't get away with a throwaway line because you know you're going to be tracking within hours.
Right.
So I'm vicious with myself
The stakes are so high.
and the writing.
Yeah.
And it's not like it's a leisurely, I know I have acquaintance songwriters
Mm-hmm.
that go down to the bottom of their garden in a shed or wherever and do their writing every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how I operate.
Yeah.
I read a lot. I, look at art books or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Take walks, go to the beach, drink in. So it's a take-in time for me.
Yeah.
And then keep journals, just notes.
Right.
And I rely on those journals because lines will come and you're pulling on those lines even though you have to drill down on them
Mm-hmm.
and change some things. But there might be a bed of something where you go, this is the bones of a line that I'm going to get. And you cannot be precious about it.
Mm.
It's that get off the cross, we need the wood thing.
Yes.
You know,
I do.
if you're so precious about it, it's like, you can get back to it.
Uh-huh.
But you have to have the courage to really blow it out
Yeah.
and And that's what needed to happen, because once I realized I'm at Song of Sorrow in the record,
Mm-hmm.
which we know is the love song. 2 love songs back to back for Lou.
Right.
That were inspired by things he was saying to me. So it's very strange. It was a conversation, things he said that I say he says.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but you haven't heard of him before.
Right.
I'm looking at the, because I had to know what followed what on the record. This wasn't an interchangeable, like we can't sing the song from the Medicine Man until we get to him.
Yeah, there's a narrative. Yes,
Yeah, there's
absolutely. Right.
So I'm recognizing that after the big song with my daughter, Veins, trying to come to terms with, well, what does that mean, the history of the family? What does that mean? That we have sexual abusers in the family, in our bloodline? Most of us do.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. Somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It was part of the culture. Or it could be verbal abuse. It could, whatever abuse you want to put on it. But if somebody doesn't want to change that, they have to want to change that. You can't make them change that, as we all know. And so what am I trying to tell my daughter? I'm becoming a dragon? Is that in you? And she said to me, does that mean, Mom, also I'm changing my identity?
Mm-hmm.
Am I questioning my sexuality?
Mm-hmm.
Do I not want to be a mother? Not at this time. Does this mean, so her cousins, her older cousin that she's cooked close to, my sister's kids, is a mother of 3 now, who is now back in the workforce. Well, that's her dragon change. So she pulled herself out of a very high level academia game. She had a master's in environmental studies and worked for one of the big philanthropic, whatever you call them, NGOs, and pulled out of the workplace. And her dragon moment was to get herself back in as a mother. She's got 18th month old and 5 and 7. And then Kelsey, who just got married. So she left a place of being not married into joining a home with somebody else, and that was her becoming a dragon moment. So we talked about these different, what does that metaphor mean?
Right.
Change in a belief system,
Right.
which recognizing, oh my God, I've heard so many people in America tell me I had no idea that this is what they meant. When Cambridge Analytica, which blew up in England, as we all know, with the money from the Mercers, and Steve Bannon, and bless him, Wiley, who blew the whistle on that, he had no idea, even though he's smart, where this could go,
Right.
and how to manipulate the human race.
Yeah.
And so, yes,
You're
all these things were,
weaving all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever have moments when you are writing something sort of under the gun like that? Like on the one hand, I think the stakes are high, so really amazing things can happen. But do you ever look back and think, I wish I changed that word? Like I remember even Song of Sorrow for a little bit was Song of Sorrows.
yes.
And you changed that. So are you tweaking? And do you ever look back and think, you know what, I fucked it up. It should have been that months later after it's been to mastering, it's coming out. Or you just kind of make peace with it. It is what it is.
There might be questions. There might have been questions, but I drilled pretty hard at the time. I drive them all so crazy in the mix room. I mean, Mark will say to me, you know, there are 89% things that are so right with this track, and you're honing in on this little fucking hi-hat, and it's driving me insane. I said, you're driving yourself insane. Let's fix it.
Right. And you want what you want. And your name's on it.
Well, but it's not I want what I want. I want for the record. I've known producers and they just want what they want because they have hubris. Sometimes they have genius, mentioning no names. Some of them are very famous, but sometimes they just think they're right all the time. I expect to not be right half the time.
Okay.
But I'm gonna push it.
Yeah.
And I think if you have an open table, look, I'm just going to say it. My world is a democracy till it's not. I mean, I have to make a decision.
Yeah.
You have to, but I really weigh them like Mott with a feather on the scales. You've got to consider it. And I think as you get older too, if you don't lose that functionality, if you're able to just I have to slow things down more than I did in my late 30s, and my decisions aren't as fast because I can't remember things without Googling them. And then, but you have to make a decision. And sometimes I'm not ready to make that decision. So I test drove Song of Sorrows to Song of Sorrow. And it's almost like Lou was speaking to me, and he would say to me, this song is your song of sorrow. One. I'm not asking you to sing all the sorrowful songs that all the bards have sung for thousands of years. That is not what we're doing, my love.
Yeah.
You are writing and singing to me a song of sorrow. There's one.
I love that. There is this wonderful clip of you going around right now from 1996. You're on 120 Minutes on MTV with Matt Pinfield. And bless his heart, I love Matt Pinfield. He's so nervous to be talking to you. And you are just like cool as a cucumber. But he's asking you about producing Pele by yourself, the first time that you've done executive producing on your own. And he said, were you scared about that? And you said, there were times I was a little scared, but there were times I would just look at the harpsichord and I would look at that piano and they would say, come on, baby, give us some ass. And I'd say, all right, I know how to do this. I think I've known what I hear in my head. It's been there for 30 years. And the things that I haven't tried before, there are things that I haven't tried before that I had to really get out there. And I'm wondering, another 30 years on from that, when you're approaching an album, especially sonically, are you still like, there are things that I want to try that I haven't tried before? Or is it different now?
No, there are things. But what was true for this record was James Bonks and I hadn't been in a room together since 2009 playing music. So we'd been sending music back and forth since Christmastide during the pandemic to our respective studios and then back. And we did that on Ocean to Ocean. We did that on Touring the Muses. But it just seemed like, and I knew the scheduling was gonna be crazy. So I made Spoon make the calls really fast and lock these guys in. Because James was going on tour with the amazing Dinah Krall as a trio, jazz trio. And so it was working in between those dates. So he had time to record before and time to record after. So then I understood the record had to be split into 2 sessions. And yet knowing that they would be in a room together and that I could be with them was not a small production decision. And Mark really pushed me on it. He said, you want this. It will be different. Because Mark was there recording me and Matt, James, doing Spark, coming up with it together. And before that, James had flown into the beach house where my oldest niece was 12 at the time. Cody, watching in the corner. And I'll never forget, she like punked out her blonde hair and put on some lipstick. She was like 12. She was staying alone with me. Can you believe she was like, that's what happens with the oldest and their 4 babies underneath. It's like, yeah, go see your crazy aunt. And so she was there, and James and I were jamming and coming up with Cruel and I.I.E. in the beach house at that Busendorfer. And so we had developed a rhythm language at the time, and this time he always brings something different. That's the kind of brain he has. He brought his electronica stuff. He'd have to tell you. We should include him on something, and he might tell.
That'd be fun.
He's one of those guys that just says, "Yeah, I did a little bit of this, a little bit. It's just drums, and it's just drums."
Absolutely not. We have like 3 minutes, so I just want to stick with that really quickly. You brought the harpsichord back.
Yes.
Talk about that, and also, are we going to get a harpsichord, like on the keyboard when you're touring? Are we going to hear the harpsichord?
Through the keyboard.
We will.
We can't take it out anymore because the drums coming down the microphones, you'll hear more of everything else than the harpsichord.
But
So-
we're going to hear it.
Yeah, you're going to hear it.
And why is she back? I mean, people saw there was a Guardian interview you did, and you took a photo with it maybe 2 years ago, and people were like, "Oh, she's bringing it back." They were so excited, and now it's back.
Well, it takes a lot of looking after.
Yeah.
There's a lot of looking after her.
Uh-huh.
The tuning, she goes out of tune really quick. So it's just having that commitment
Yeah.
to keeping it up.
But for this album, I mean, I didn't hear it until recently, but I was saying what I was hearing when I was doing my circles was like, the phrase I was using was medieval times, but with lasers.
Right.
It was like ancient, but electronic. And that's sort of what the harpsichord feels like. Her place in that is sort of hearkening back to older
Yeah.
times as well, along with some of the tribal stuff that's happening. And
Yes.
yeah. Well, this was amazing. I literally have 8 more pages of questions. Maybe we'll do this another time sometime soon. But thank you so much.
We have to do more of these.
Yeah.
I love
love it
talking
too.
with you.
Good.
It's different than talking with anybody else because we know each other.
Yeah, safe space. Right?
Yes, that's the main thing.
Exactly.
But I want to thank everybody. You've been so
Yeah,
supportive.
you guys have been incredible.
Yet to leave, I don't want to leave. But we're headed now to Europe, and that's a different adventure, right? We love it there too. So you're all invited to come and visit anytime you want. I know you have lives and you're busy, I get it. But you bring so much. And I do read the letters, and they're enlightening, and they're informative, and they teach me things. And they give me ideas, and we're trying to apply them.
Amazing. Let's give it up for Tori Amos, everyone.
Thank you much, love. Thank you for coming.
Oh my God.